Hello and welcome to another episode of the ALLANal video podcast. Once again, I am your host, Sebastian Starr, here joined with my best friend / spiritual sister, Pretty Panda. And today we're doing a very special, I don't want to call it a seasonal, because this is us on a regular basis. This is us on like an everyday.
24/7.
24/7, 365, 366 on a good year. Today we're going to be discussing supervillains and serial killers. Now, I know that you and I, we had a pretty good back and forth about some of your favorite serial killers. And I know I was going to let you take the lead, but just now, thinking off the top of my head, I want to start with the Blood Countess, Elizabeth Bathory. Is it Bathory or Ballery? Which one is it?
Bathory.
Bathory. I know her as the Blood Countess. I've heard the stories before, and this bitch is sick. And the thing I love, I know I said I'm gonna go get my glasses, but I took them right back off, starting to sweat. The thing that I love about female serial killers is, for one, they're extremely underrated. They exist wholeheartedly, and they are probably the most infamous, dangerous, and lethal type of serial killers. If you're somebody like me and somebody like you who likes to watch, Law and Order, Criminal Minds, CSI, NCIS, you know that female serial killers are almost always never caught. Their violence are the most gruesome, the most vicious, and they are the most charming and clever type of bandits when caught in those situations. So let's talk about the Blood Countess for a second. What can you tell us about her?
So, first of all, this is why you're my best friend. Everybody who knows me so everybody thinks that I'm weird because I have pretty much a list of my favorite serial killers, or I have a favorite serial killer, and Elizabeth Bathory is my number one all-time favorite serial killer, psychopath, whatever you want to call her. Because, for one, sis is genius. This is a genius. Like,
it kind of,
first of all,
idolize her so much, but okay.
I mean, okay. So I'm going to get into it. So basically, she was a countess. She was married, and she had, long story short, she was a countess. She had a very well-known family. She got married to somebody who was less popular than her, in our terms. Somebody who was less well-known, so he wound up taking her last name, and he gifted her a castle with her own torture chamber in it, okay? So, what Elizabeth Bathory is famous for, she would lure pretty maidens of the townspeople to her castle by saying that she would give them a job and give them a place to stay in the castle. Who wouldn't want their daughter to live in a castle and have a good job and be fed and shit like that working in a castle?
Especially during that time period when everybody's scavenging for, content and satisfaction with whatever they could get their hands on. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody was poor. So everybody needed something to cling to. So it's like taking advantage of the less fortunate, which is also really fucked up.
But still ingenious, because who doesn't want an out? It's kind of like, when I'm saying it like this, it's ingenious, but if you were to say it towards, those Law and Order SVU episodes where it was like, oh, she promised my kids could work for money, like, so I gave her my kids.
Modern day serial killer who is like luring these unexpected victims with promises of riches and comfortability, but the reality is she used to string them up upside down in her torture chamber and slit their necks so that the blood would all drip into her bathtub, and she would bathe in their blood so that she would be eternally youthful. Now, the first time I actually came across this serial killer was in this movie, and it is called Stay Alive. The movie has Frankie Muniz in it, and it's basically these kids that are playing a video game, and the game is called Stay Alive, and it's based off the Blood Countess Elizabeth Bathory. And at the beginning of the game, it's voice activated, and you say a spell out of her spell book or her journal. That should have been red flag number one. If you have to recite a tantrum or a ritual out of anything, it doesn't matter what it is, Don't do it. Like, why the fuck? Why do I have to initiate the game by saying some freaky deaky ancient? I'm sorry. Continue, please.
No, you're fine.
This shit is crazy. It's crazy.
So after that, they start creating their characters, and they're on the LaRouche Plantation, which is Elizabeth Bathory's house in modern day. And the Garouge Plantation, which is Elizabeth Bathory's house in modern day. And she has a cemetery in the back of her house where her torture chamber is and where she's locked up in the tower, etc., etc. So the goal is, when you die in the game, you die for real. She has little children that are like zombies that are trying to kill you.
I'm sorry.
They didn't know that. They didn't know that at the time.
That's like some Jumanji shit. That's like some Sword Art Online shit. Like, no, bro. We're not about to play something that if I get hurt here, then I get hurt in reality, and that shit is permanent.
Some Code Lyoko type shit.
Yeah, like what the no.
So yeah, basically, so their friends start dying off one by one, and that's when they start doing research on her. And I was like, okay, she seems like a pretty dope person. Like, is this based off a real person? So that's when I started like researching Stay Alive. And then I found upon the many portals of Google that the Blood Countess is actually a real person. And I started doing my research on her, and I'm like, okay, sis, it just didn't take effect in modern day. It took effect like way back then when they had some ugly ass Shakespeare callers. And it's just like, ugh.
Right. And I think I want to add, in addition to soaking in the blood of her victims, because like I said, I did a little bit of research on her as well. Didn't she also do extensive amounts of sadistic torture, sticking nails underneath their fingernails and making them eat themselves, making them cook and eat their own body parts, and
that's why I said, her husband gifted her a castle with her own built-in torture chamber. Now, eventually, when the husband's away, she did her little thing, but her husband eventually died. And she started to torture more and more. Now, the city people did get okay, this don't make sense. Where the fuck are our daughters? Right. So...
It was only young girls. She never took young boys or young men. It was only young girls that she did all this stuff to.
Yep. To be forever beautiful. So it was a really, I don't know, I liked it. It stood out to me. I mean, realistically, now in art, back then they didn't give a fuck about diseases and stuff like that. But if somebody in our day and age were to do that shit, we'd be like, hold up, herpes, HIV, blood diseases, I'm
more concerned about you getting blood in your asshole and up your vagina and shit. That's the shit that I think about. I can't.
This is what I'm saying. What if their blood breaks me out because it's dirty people blood? That's what I think. What if it stains my skin?
If the blood gets old, it'll start to clot. So you sitting in a thick ass soup of some nasty shit.
You just sitting there playing with it like this, it's a lava lamp.
And here's my thing. I don't have no type of issue with serial killers. I follow a lot of serial killer pages on TikTok where they do little snippets of different types of serial killers. They talk about the main headliners though. John Wayne Gacy, Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer. They talk about all of them. Everybody knows those guys, but you seem to be more interested in the underground, the not too talked about serial killers. And those are the more sadistic ones. I was looking back at that list that you sent me a while back. Albert Fish is a nasty motherfucker. This nigga is gross. Oh my God. I remember, because I told you I went back and I did my research. This nigga is disgusting. It's not even, oh my goodness.
So when I express to people that I have a list of, I don't even want to say they're serial killers that turn me on or anything like that. They're just serial killers. No, they're just serial, except for Elizabeth Bathory.
Okay, And that's
But
fair, because you know what? You are a strong, and I'm not going to call you sadistic because you're not sadistic, but you are a very strong and empowered individual. And I feel like that attracts you to other strong and empowered individuals, especially when it comes to females. And like I said, female serial killers are so swept under the rug. So when you hear about a story of a notorious and sadistic female serial killer who's also a very strong and empowered woman, naturally is going to draw you towards her. So I get that.
Oh yeah. But like the men, they're just the ones that stood out to me. And one that I did my research on and I loved because it left a sense of mystery was actually Jack the Ripper.
Okay, can we talk just a little bit, because everybody knows the story of Jack the Ripper. I feel like, for one, he's never been caught, and
that's the thing.
His story has been interpreted in so many different versions throughout pop culture, throughout media. So many people want to be a Jack the Ripper type of serial killer, but I feel like that's not something that just you change.
So
go ahead.
That's what led me to love the mystery behind Jack the Ripper is because they've never been caught. They don't know if it was actually a man or a woman who was committing the murders, because they've never been caught. And I get it, like, what is it? Their way of killing was like simple, but they never got, I keep saying he just because the name is Jack. They never got caught.
Right.
They did what they needed to do, and it's just like, I like that. Like, yeah, scary as hell. Like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is scary, but I like that mystery and that suspense, and like I like to solve crime. I like doing crime solving games. So like when I look back at cases and stuff like that, I love Criminal Minds. So I'll try and be like a profiler in a way to figure out, like, is that a woman's signature? Is that a man's? I like that type of stuff, you know? So Jack the Ripper is definitely like
Criminal Minds is part of the reason why I'm an over analytic person. Because I've been watching Criminal Minds since like 10th grade. So I partially blame them for my overthinking and over analyzing everything that I do and see. And that's also why I have major trust issues, because you can't go anywhere without potentially being them and my mom putting that paranoia
that
in my
show and the show 1,000 Ways to Die. Now every time I walk into a room or I'm in the car, I think of different scenarios where I can die in a car crash, or I think of different scenarios of which anybody can be killed in this room, just standing in this room with me. And it's because of those two shows. And
that's not a way to live. So for anybody, just the FYI, don't keep that. Let that go. But this isn't about us. This is about the other crazy people. But no, Criminal Minds definitely opened up that analytical door. And it's more about just looking at people's, not necessarily their behaviors, but just, you really have no idea what people are capable of. And I feel like, I don't want to dive too deep into Criminal Minds, but they are a show about serial killers.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I feel like they are pretty accurate. I feel like they do their research. They make references to real life cases or base their episodes off of, events that actually happen. I know I've seen a couple of episodes that are related to real life serial killers and real life events.
Oh yeah, there was one where this girl was obsessed with Agent Rossi, if I'm not mistaken. And there was a murder in her town, and she went to the house where a murder was had, and a guy killed her, and he was mimicking the different serial killers.
Right. Yeah.
Till he found his own niche, which was strangulation. Mm-hmm. But he was doing different signatures of different serial killers, and one of those serial killers was Jack the Ripper. So that I love that. Like, if I had to choose a favorite serial killer off of Criminal Minds, a Criminal Minds serial killer, it would be, even though I hate him so much because he killed Hotch's wife. What's his name?
And you know what? That kind of ties very stringliney into the super villain category. But I know what episode you're talking about.
What is his name? What was his name?
The episode is called Omnivore, and his name is George Foyet.
Yes, Foyet.
motherfucker right there. So and I watch Criminal Minds all the time. So and
Still
this is
rewatching
one of my favorite episodes. So I know the name and everything. I think it's season 4, episode like 16 or some shit. So the Omnivore episode is where you first meet George Foyet, who plays victim in his own string of serial killings for like a 5-year period. He killed like 22 people, very sadistically, very what's the word I'm looking for? It was like very graphic, very violent, very, outrageous and just insane. They called him a hebephile, which means that he was sexually attracted to teenage girls, which the younger the girls were, the more time he spent stabbing them, which I think that's really fucked up.
But I also liked how he studied the human anatomy enough to know exactly where to stab somebody to the point where they don't die.
Yeah, because he stabbed himself like, I want to say maybe 22 times. Like he had
like when he everywhere. And when he was torturing Hotch, like Hotch my nigga and all, but when he was torturing Hotch, he was like, isn't it amazing how many places you can stab a human body and not kill somebody? And I was like, really? So like, what are these places exactly? So like, I
know, and this isn't me on some crazy people shit, but I know where to avoid. You have to avoid the major arteries. Now, I'm not sure where all of them are, but I know you have one in your neck.
There's one like right here. There's one
in your thigh. Your upper thigh has
there's definitely one in your thigh, closer to your groin area.
Mm-hmm. And then your Achilles. Your Achilles isn't a major artery, but it is a sensitive spot on your body that if you cut it, you're like, you can't do shit. So if you cut your Achilles, that's it. It's over with.
There's one right here.
I didn't know that. See, I didn't know that there was.
I've been lucky enough to miss it in my attempts, there is. Oh, it's hilarious. Because I can't do shit right.
This is a coping mechanism, bro. I have to laugh. I'm sorry, but it's not funny. It's not funny.
You're fine.
It's not funny.
You're fine. So like there is one where like if you hit it right, you do rupture it.
Oof. That's why you go long ways instead of sideways, right? I don't.
Yeah, that's why you're supposed to go straight down.
We're not talking about that right now. Damn it. We're talking.
Oh damn! Edit that out.
We're not gonna.
My bad.
Okay, I'm sorry. You're right. We're gonna keep pushing. We're talking about Criminal Minds. Another one of my favorite episodes. I can't tell you what it's called, but it's one of my favorites. And this episode where they were in New Orleans, and then that lady was killing people in the French Quarter. She was actually mimicking Jack the Ripper step by step. Like everything he did, she would do, as far as how she killed her victims, the notes that she left for the police, the clues that she left on the victims' bodies, and even parts of the victims that she would cut up. Everything was like 100% accurate from Jack the Ripper. And she was a female serial killer. Now, I like that you said that you can't be 100% sure that Jack the Ripper was a man instead of a woman. And I do know, historically speaking, whenever a woman accomplishes something, she would usually take on a man's persona, a man's name, a man's attire, because it's more believable to think that a man is capable of doing these things and not a woman. So it's very, very possible. It's very, very possible that Jack the Ripper could have been a woman and have gotten away with all of these heinous crimes. And you know what? You remember the anime Black Butler.
Of course, anime is my thing.
Exactly. So Ciel's aunt, Madame Red, and her demon butler. Well, he wasn't a demon; he was a reaper. I'm sorry. Her reaper.
Oh yeah. When he so fucking good.
Yeah. So that's another.
So fucking, and then he went like bonkers, and it was fucking wild. I was like, bro, you're the bad. Like the butler was hilarious, but it was like, bro, you're the bad guy.
Yeah. That was great. So that's 2 examples of 2 women in pop culture that take the Jack the Ripper persona into fruition. In the Black Butler case, she is Jack the Ripper. Her and this Reaper Butler, a Grim Reaper Butler, they are a tag team Jack the Ripper. And she would cut their uteruses out because she was a doctor and she could do that. In the Criminal Minds scenario, she was just mimicking the Jack the Ripper persona piece by piece in a modern day Louisiana setting. So that's an interesting theory that I don't know if anyone's ever really thought of that, because like I said, female serial killers don't usually get caught. Female serial killers are very stealthy and they're very good at picking up their own pieces and keeping their hands clean. And in that time period, when women were underestimated constantly by men, you never would have thought that a woman was capable of such heinous and horrific crimes like what Jack the Ripper had committed. You know what I'm saying? So,
and that's another reason why I think that it's a woman, is because they never did get caught because they were looking for a man.
Right.
And that's the thing. In Criminal Minds, they said, don't give it a name because you'll focus too much on the name instead of the person you're actually looking for. Right. If you've got a person named Jack the Ripper or the 88 Mile Killer, you're only searching on the 88 Mile, and next thing you know, he's went to like Chattanooga or 76 Mile.
Right.
You're searching for Jack the Ripper, so you're searching for males instead of you searching for anybody that can fit it, but you're only looking for males. Like, you don't know if it's male or female. That's another reason why I feel like it's female and they got away, is because they keyed in on the name more than the actions.
And another thing that I think they mentioned about the whole naming your serial killers thing is, you know, if the media gets a hold of that, they'll run with it. You know, so now the media is going around saying all this, that, and the third. That gives the killer enough time to, you know, maneuver, plan around it, go somewhere else, think ahead, you know, because the media
change their motive.
Exactly, change their motive, their signature, their victimology, all that shit. It gives them enough time to replan out their, unless they're just psychotic and they just don't care. Like, some serial killers want that attention and they want the press to be talking and they want people to be afraid. But some of them who are like, and this gets into something I'm going to talk about later, but some of them who are like more methodical or more planned out, they'll use that to their advantage to either get out of jail, a get out of jail free card. Like, say a poser comes up and claims work for a serial killer, that serial killer can use that poser as their placement and then just ditch town and go start somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
It's a lot of reasons why the press and the media shouldn't get involved when it comes to serial killers, regardless of naming them or you know, telling them. But it's also helpful because you can be like, oh, I seen somebody who looked just like that doing some shit like this. You know, it's pros and cons to it. But I mean, it just depends on the serial killer, I guess. I did want to talk a bit about Albert Fish, though, because I think you got a thing for cannibals, bro. I think you have.
Let's get into it.
I don't know what it is, but I think you got a thing for cannibals. Now, when I was doing my research on this disgusting ass bastard, he wasn't a pedophile. He wasn't into like having sex with any of his victims. All of his victims were minors, if I'm not mistaken. But he would lure them in and he would literally, oh my God. I saw a video. They had a like a court testimony. This nigga said he cut the butt in half. and he ate one half and he saved the other half for later. And he had the kid trapped in this abandoned house and they were crying while they were taking their clothes off. And he was like, I'm not gonna touch you or nothing like that. I'm not here for none of that. I can't remember how he killed them exactly. I don't know if he knocked them out or strangled them. I'm not sure what he did to kill them, but he killed them and then he started cutting the pieces. He cut them into pieces. And he said he could make one child last for like a couple of weeks or a couple of months or something like that. They lasted a long ass time. And he would just slowly, bit by bit.
Oh, there's also a Criminal Minds episode inspired by Albert Fish. I don't know if anybody knows it, but instead of him killing it's like a guy who believes that he's satanic or something like that, and he picks up hikers and he fed them to
shit! He's the comedian. He's a comedian. I can't tell you what his name is.
You know which one I'm talking about, though.
Exactly which one you're talking about.
Because it had the black pastor. So the thing about the Albert Fish one is everybody knows I have a kid. So it wasn't necessarily like that one was one of my favorites. That one disturbed me enough that it stuck with me, so that I'm always on the alert when it comes to my kid. That's why that one's on my list, is because it was so disturbing to me that it stuck with me ever since.
You didn't have to worry enough about, you know, the gym teacher or the friendly school teacher or the babysitter or
the wrestling coach.
Yeah, you gotta worry about. It's bad enough you gotta worry about pedophiles. You gotta think about cannibals too. Like,
yeah, so
it's one thing to be fearful as a parent that your child might be abducted by a pedophile. He didn't even want to fuck these kids, but he just wanted to eat them. Like,
yeah.
You want to cut my baby's ass off and save half of it for later? Like, that fucked me up. It really fucked me up.
And that's why it's on my list, because it messed me up that bad that it's just always stuck with me. And I feel like it's definitely a story that people need to be aware of, because they
turn just thinking of, because he went into detail about what he did to this. Oh my God. He said he cut the ass in half and he cut the dick off. I don't know what he did with the dick. I don't think he ate it. I think he threw it away. No, he threw the dick away. He kept the nuts. I'm just like, bro, come on, bro. Come on, bro. Come on. The names that he named them, oh God, the whole story. It just,
I was about to say, didn't he?
That was my core.
Didn't he had a list, if I'm not mistaken. I think he had a list. And like he changed the name in the list or something like that. But yeah, that one was just really disturbing and it stuck with me. So I can't get it out of my head. So it's on a list of ones that I'll always remember.
The video that I watched is like 13 minutes long. It was like 13 minutes. And of course, it always got some kind of fucked up ass backstory. His parents were abusive and they starved him and he resented his parents, and his sex life was kind of fucked up. He didn't really, you know, get aroused off of, you know, normal people shit. He got aroused off of like weird people shit. And of course he was like torturing animals and stuff. That's how it always fucking starts. I don't know what point in this nigga's life he was like, hey, I wonder what an asshole tastes like, and decided to cut up a fucking child and be like, I'm gonna cook that. Like, what the fuck? What are you? I can't.
I cannot even.
And while we're on the topic of cannibals, can we talk about John Wayne Gacy for a second? Not John Wayne Gacy. Well, we can talk about John Wayne Gacy, the original killer clown, which movies like It are inspired by. This nigga John Wayne Gacy, who abducted young boys and young men for years. I don't think he was eating any of his victims, though. I mean, shit, he might have. I don't fucking know. Then that nigga was gross. And then you got Jeffrey Dahmer. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
If we can, you already know I don't do clowns because sis is scared of clowns. So you got that fine. John Wayne, whoever the hell.
Okay, I mean, you know who he is. And you know what he did. But I'm trying to stick to the list of cannibals. So Jeffrey Dahmer is another very infamous cannibal who would abduct teenage boys and young boys and chop them up and eat them. But he was they made a movie about this guy. He seemed like
I wanted to see the movie. I just don't remember what the fuck it was called.
I think it was My Friend Dahmer or some shit like that. I don't fucking know. It got the nigga from Disney Channel and the dude from the Naked Brothers band in it. I seen the preview for it. It looks wild as hell. But he was chopping niggas up and eating them.
I want to know why it was men or males.
I assume because he was either questioning his sexuality or apparently Jeffrey Dahmer was such a charming, smooth talking, you know, interesting guy. He wasn't charming in a sense, but he was very he could talk his way out of any situation. So I think he used that to his advantage to befriend these boys. And then when they least suspected it, type shit. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know exactly how any of these niggas accomplished anything. Apparently, Ted Bundy, which I've seen niggas of this nigga, pictures of this guy, he's not that attractive. So the fact that women were throwing at Ted Bundy's feet, I don't know how the hell that happened. But
when I did my research and I saw pictures of Ted Bundy, I'm like, ugh.
You just look.
Y'all thought this was cute?
Yeah, like, I mean, maybe for the time, he's like the American. I don't fucking know. I don't think he wouldn't have talked me into no goddamn call. But
that's what I'm saying. Like, hey, you want to get in my no? I don't even know you. You ain't bought me dinner.
I'm about to got a quarter of a unibrow going on in his head. He looked like he's.
This is what I'm saying. Like, sir, can you do like one of these numbers with your hair? Like,
y'all.
Sir, you're
and Ted Bundy was married. In addition to being a serial killer, you got a wife, bro. Like, what the fuck?
You got a wife and a stepdaughter.
How does that work? You what? But wait, I ain't need to talk about Ted Bundy because
and it's crazy because when I make Del watch like things like this, because he finds it insane that I have a list of serial killers that stand out to me. But when I make him watch stuff like this, he always asks me the same question, babe. What would you do if I was a serial killer?
Is he a serial killer?
Kill you? Like, kill you? Like, what you think? I'm not finna know you a serial killer and have you around my child. Like, no, you gotta die.
That's a big fuck no. But I just thought about something. So there's a documentary on Netflix about, it's called American Murder. It's about that dude who killed his entire family. God damn it, I can't tell you what his name is, but I can tell you the entire story. So
don't, because I haven't seen it. Just know Del ain't trying that shit unless he want another glass situation.
Well, long story short, which this is all public knowledge. I'm not spoiling anything for you. But long story short, this man killed his entire family, his pregnant wife and his two young daughters, who were 3 and 6.
Oh, you monster.
And it's the thing that fucked me up about the story is the way he went about it. Like, it's how everything kind of fell into place. Like, because this is all POV style. So you got like security cameras from the neighbor's house, security cameras from their ring on their door, police body cams.
Was this recent?
Like this was like 2018. Like, yes! And it fucked me up because I had heard about the story and I was like, damn, that's kind of fucked up. But it's one thing to like hear about a story word of mouth or you see it on social media or something like that. And you're like, damn, that's kind of fucked up. But then to actually see it all kind of unravel and the extent that this man was willing to go to cover up his tracks, like it really fucked. So if you think that the Albert Fish case was fucked up, I don't want to tell you to watch it because you might not ever trust your fiance again. But it had me looking at niggas all the way different. Like, bro, literally after I was done watching it, I went into the bedroom and I told Harry, I said, hey, if you're gonna kill me, just fucking do it already. Don't lead me on. Don't get married and let's move into our own house in the middle of, just do it. Just kill me right now, okay? Because I can't handle this amount of bullshit. It really fucked me up, bro. It really, because the wife was like a very active on Facebook mom. So she got videos of her kids, opening Christmas presents, going to the beach, picnics, Thanksgiving, Easter, visiting the grandparents. She's that type of social media mom. So she takes pictures of everything. She posts everything on social media. And you can see the amount of love that his daughters had for him, and he fucking killed them. And it fucked me up. Like, I just couldn't do it. If you get
I'm not gonna lie. What I went through growing up with I went through, and then Law and Order SVU, that always steered me away from who I would let around my kids, you know? But I don't know. Like, I'm definitely still like weary, but as weird as it sounds, I don't ever have to look at Del sideways. Like,
it's gonna have
I
you.
don't know. It's
You ain't
just
gonna be able to trust nobody after you watch that shit. So if you don't want to feel like that, I would not recommend you watching it. You can find the case. It's on social media. It's on Facebook for sure. I wish, for the love of God, I can tell you what their names were. But if you just type in American Murder on Facebook, I'm sure an article or something will pop up. Because it's there. I've seen it. But that documentary it really fucked me up. Like, it really just, damn, I can't believe you did that shit. Like, it's unbelievable. The amount, the level that this nigga was willing to go to cover his fucking tracks. Like, it just really, like, I can't believe you, bro. I cannot fucking believe you. It's literally like a Criminal Minds episode. Like, it's like that, but it's real life. And I think that's what fucked me up, because I watch Criminal Minds so much, and I see these stories about, you know, the family annihilator. That's what they're calling this guy. He's a family annihilator. He wiped out his entire family, bro. Like, that really happened in real life, like, recently. Like, this nigga is doing a life sentence as we speak. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, like, that shit, especially when it comes to kids, that shit always fucks me up, and it always sticks with me, because, like I said, I have a kid. I raised my little brother since I was 8 years old and he was 2. I love kids. I can't stand other people's kids, but I love kids in general. And it's like, so cases like that involve kids, it always fucks me up, and because I'm a mom, I instantly put myself in, like, what if that was my kid scenario? And automatically I'd be off my meds, so I start to black out, and I'm like, bro, you know I'll kill you, right? Like, there was one day.
I'm not gonna spoil it for you, so I'm not gonna tell you exactly what happened or exactly, you know, what he did or what he said or none of that. If you decide to go back and watch it, it is on Netflix. Or you can just Google the story, so you don't have to watch the shit unravel, because I think watching it is tougher than just, like, reading an article about it. Like, it's gonna be tough either way, but you actually see this nigga, like, in a panic. You know what I'm saying? Like, freaking out. Like, you are just so full of shit, and it just got under my skin. So, but I couldn't stop watching. I watched the whole thing. I was like, bro, this is fucked up. And then his parents gonna have the nerve. No, her parents are gonna have the nerve at the end when he's at trial. Oh, we understand and we forgive you. No, his parents were like, we understand and we forgive you. We get that you're not usually, bitch. And then her parents, his wife's parents, are in the, I'm not gonna say the audience, but they're in the audience. Her father had, like, a mental breakdown. Like, he's lost weight. He's pale in the face. He is slimming. He's losing hair. Her brother is there trying to console him. Her mama. Their whole family is just distraught. And his parents gonna have the fucking nerve to be like, we forgive you for your mistake. Bitch, I ought to strangle you. He killed my fucking daughter. Fuck you.
Oh, look, I'll be the first one to tell you. I tell everybody, if anybody ever feel like they gonna kill me, burn the bitch down. I don't want justice. It ain't no, she wouldn't want this. Yes, the fuck I would. Make them suffer. Everything that they did to me, do exactly right back to them and worse.
To have a bullet in the brain for what he did to them, bro. And then when you find out the reason why, it just makes you even more upset. Like, the whole story.
What was the reason?
You want me just to tell you what happened?
No, I'm watching it right now, but tell me the reason.
Okay, so he had a mistress. She was younger, she was sexier, she was, you know, she was more fun and more, you know, adventurous, more outgoing. And he just didn't want to be married anymore. So he slowly started to disconnect from his wife, and she can sense it. You know, she's texting her friends, I think something's wrong. I think he might be having an affair. I think he might be cheating. I don't know what else to do. I've tried talking to him. He doesn't want to talk to me. She sees that something is wrong. But instead of just going to her and being like, you know what, babe, you're absolutely right. I am having an affair. I don't think this marriage is working anymore. I feel like I'm missing pieces of my life. I think we should just go our separate ways, have joint custody of the kids, and let bygones be. Instead of doing that.
I was gonna say, instead of, like, divorce.
You gonna fucking, come on, bro.
You murder her and your kid. See, and that's why there's this joke on Facebook, and it's like, and it's a black guy who's saying, he said something to, he was like, I'll steal you from your man. What the hell Todd gonna do or James gonna do? Referring to a white guy. And somebody commented back and they were like, kill me, the kids, the dog.
Yes.
And I was like, yo, I feel that. However, that's not funny because these white men really be like, I don't even want to make it like a race thing, but these men really don't process shit.
It's not just a race thing, because I saw this is
because like some black men be like,
well,
they don't process shit neither.
Recently, I saw on Facebook that a man shot and killed his fiance or wife in front of their 3 children. Like, cause she asked
his baby moms.
Regardless of what it was, she wanted to break up with them or be separated or whatever the case may be. They had 3 kids, and he shot and killed her in front of their children. And he's being tried right now. This was like this past year, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it was late last year, early this year, something like that. But I saw that and I was like, damn, that's fucked up. Because now all 3 of the children, the oldest one is probably like 9 years old. So, and the youngest one's probably like 2 or 3. So all 3 of them are pretty much fucked for life at this point. Which is probably why
my boys are in the living room laughing evilly, and it scared me because I was like, who the fuck is laughing so evil? Like, what the? Because we're talking about serial killers. Like, why is there an evil laugh? Bro, Dejan is in there laughing up. Like,
I think that's probably why the fathers kill the children as well, so they don't have to deal with the trauma of watching their father kill their mother type shit. But the black man in this case, he didn't touch the kids, but he did.
At least he left the kids out of it.
I mean, yeah, but they are also traumatized. Watching their father shoot and kill their mother is not going to sit well with them. Like, they're going to be fucked up for the rest of their lives. Versus in the American Murder Story, everybody's dead. I don't know which one is worse. Like,
yeah, and like, I'm not going to stunt. Like, I think that's why my aunt tells me to like control my temper, because like she's like, either Dell's going to leave you or like y'all going to kill each other. And it's like, I